Hey guys, it's Tuesday, and this week I'm going to be talking about violence and why lit. It's one of the few things I feel pretty qualified to talk about. That sounded kind of bad, didn't it? So violence in literature is nothing new. It's been around forever. Some of the oldest and most famous examples are from children's books, fairy tales, not the Disney-fied versions, but the original stories. For example, when the queen summons a huntsman to kill Snow White, she says to him, "Take Snow White out into the woods to a remote spot and stab her to death. As proof that she is dead, bring her lungs and her liver back to me. I shall cook them with salt and eat them." That's messed up. Modern YA lit also has its fair share of violence. My favorite series, Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead, is probably one of the most action-packed of the YA series out now, and one of the most violent. In the second book, Rose picks up a dull sword and hacks the head of a vampire off. It was pretty graphic. But even in Twilight, Breaking Dawn, Bella vomits a fountain of blood. To me, that's just gross. It's just pretty violent. The whole thing about the baby eating its way out of her uterus disturbs me, and not a lot disturbs me, I can say that honestly. I tend to like a lot of action and violence in the books that I read and write. Pretty sure that makes me sound like a psycho, but it doesn't make me want to go out and strangle puppies or anything. And that's not what violence in books should make anyone do. When I read something violent in a book, it knocks me right into the action, right into the characters' minds, and my emotions multiply by 10. I feel more afraid for a character. I want to help them. I want even more for them to get out of the violent situation that they're in. Everything just gets more intense. My editor said to me shortly after she acquired my book that during the many action scenes, and there's a lot of action scenes, that she knew she should have been grossed out by the violence that happened, but she wasn't, because she was so into the scene. She wasn't grossed out. And to me, that's a huge compliment, because that's what I try for. None of the violence in my books are meant to gross anybody out. They're to drag you right into the action so you feel what the character feels. Violence in books and movies and video games aren't turning people into psychos or making kids take guns to their schools. That's ridiculous. A person has to be very disturbed and already have that kind of violence in them to do something like that. It's not because of what they read or what they see or what they play in a game. So that's my bit on violence. We've got, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really curious to see what everyone else says about these NC-17 kind of topics. And don't forget Lost is on tonight.